So we just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about the flipped classroom.
Sure.
Starting with, I mean, you've probably said this a million times already, but we'd love to hear it from you. How did you come up with the flipped classroom concept with John Bergman?
Yeah, so John and I were teachers in Woodland Park, Colorado. We both started teaching there in 2006. John came from the Denver area, and I was teaching in Los Angeles. And about halfway through that 2006-2007 school year, we were getting kind of frustrated because a lot of our students were gone, missing class for legitimate reasons, for school events and whatnot. So we started looking around and found some software that would allow us to record our lessons. So, record what was on our screens, PowerPoint slides, as well as our voice. We just started putting those online for our students. And mostly just so, when they were gone, they could have a copy of the lesson and they could get up to speed before they came back to class. Emails from around the world, people saying, hey, thanks for putting your chemistry videos online, really appreciated that. And this is really before YouTube. Google had not even acquired YouTube at this point. We were just putting them on, through iTunes and things like that. But we realized that we were teaching people who were not in our room. And that made us ask the question of what's the best use of our face-to-face class time? Clearly people can learn in other ways rather than hearing it directly from me. Let's pre-record our lessons so students can view that outside of the classroom. And then instead of doubling up their homework, having them do their homework and watch this video, we'll just watch the video, their homework. They come to class, they're going to do all of the work that goes around what they had just learned. And that was kind of the beginning of it. Around 2007, we weren't really calling it Flipped Classroom at the time. We were just, making videos for our students and trying to make better use of our class time.
Yeah, so it's more like a gradual thing, kind of evolved into the Flipped Classroom.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. I mean, every year was something different. We started, we were just trying to meet.
You're cutting out a little bit, I think. I'm going to look at my cellular. Austin, do you have an iPhone? Because then we can just do FaceTime. Are you calling from an iPhone, or?
I am, yeah.
Then do you mind if I just press a button that allows us to do FaceTime? Are you cool with that, or?
Sure. Right. Yeah, no problem. Let's see you. I cannot hear you. Hey guys, how's it going?
Can you hear us now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Yeah, there's something weird with the inputs being weird.
Oh, okay.
So let me see if I can flip this. Yeah. Okay.
All right. You've caught me before I've left the house, so I'm looking a little half put together today.
Thank you so much for contacting for calling
Sure.
us, by the way.
Yeah.
No problem.
We could barely hear you before. Now we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I had pretty crappy sound call, that sort of thing. And then how did our next question is concerned with student schedules. How are they? How were they affected when you flipped the classroom? Like, was it easier for students, like you say, if someone missed a class to
Yeah. So a couple things about student schedules. First off is it took less time for my students to view their videos outside of class than it did to do their homework under the previous model. So my students got time back. So I thought that is a great benefit because my students are always way too busy, over-programmed. The last thing they needed was more homework. So I took some of that time off their plate. So that was awesome. Then, class time just became kind of a flexible learning community, I guess you could say. So if a student missed class, it's not like they were behind in content. They might be behind because they didn't do the work that they needed to do, but they were never like dead in the water. There's some days if you miss a particular lesson and you're toast for like the next 3 weeks until you figure out what you've missed, right? So this kind of eliminated that and so I thought that was a big plus because every student could always get caught up to where they needed to be. Even if they were a little behind, they could always catch up.
Yeah, because like Grant and I were.
Yeah, one of the reasons we thought of this is we had to miss 3 days of school for like a field trip we did, and we had to do a project like this, and we were like, what if we could fix that? So it's kind of
And I mean, we were for that we were like scrambling around. I remember like barely getting all this time. I'd use like one of my homework passes for something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. So,
like, what did you end up doing in class when you ended up lecturing at home?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I was teaching high school chemistry. So the cool thing is the first year we flipped, we were able to increase the number of labs that we did by 50%. So that's cool. I mean, I always wanted to do more labs. Then after about a year of that and flipping and adding more labs, John and I went through and we were very strategic. We went through every single question on every single assignment and said, does this question help lead to the learning outcome that the video is helping the students get to? If yes, keep. If no, throw it out. So we were able to actually reduce the amount of problems that our students were doing by about 20% by just being strategic about it and going through very carefully. Then we were able to add a lot more hands-on stuff, so a lot more inquiry-based learning, learning through investigation and through questioning. My students, a lot of the students who kind of worked quickly had a chance to work on some independent projects, so some research projects of their own. So some students wanted to build a solar-powered cell phone charger. So they designed and built that themselves. Another student was really interested in fireworks and wanted to learn how to make his own fireworks. So that one I let him do, but I kept a pretty short leash on him because I didn't want him to blow himself up. But he was a very responsible student, and once he kind of learned the safety things things that could blow up in your face, I was a little more comfortable giving him a little longer leash. But things like that, more the project-based learning approach. So giving some of that time back to the students to work on things that are of interest to them. Some students, with that extra time, they said, Ms. Shams, I'm also taking AP Bio. Can I just study for AP Bio during this extra time? I said, yeah, absolutely. I don't care. You don't have to be working on my stuff as long as you're not disrupting the class. I really don't care what you do.
So students ended up working more independently during class on problems?
Yeah, what ended up happening is the students who worked quickly would kind of blast through the material. I had a student who finished the first week of April and had 2 months left to just, and she was, obviously very responsible student and got it done. And some students needed a little more time, and some students kind of grouped themselves and would work, as a group. And then the students who were kind of dragging their heels and were unmotivated, those are the students that got most of my attention and most of my prodding and encouraging to keep moving along. So.
Yeah. So then the students who I guess wouldn't be benefiting from that, but the people who I'll think of it later.
So I mean, also, I had something too, and I forgot. Give me a second. Whatever. How did you create the lecture? So I think from my research I did, you used PowerPoint or
kind of recorded voice over PowerPoint.
Is that
Yeah, so we created our lessons in PowerPoint, and then we used some software called Camtasia Studio. It's Camtasia. So that allows you to record your screen and your voice as well as a webcam. So similar to what we've got going on here. So so all of our videos have the PowerPoint slides, our voice, and then we started making them together, and we have our picture-in-picture kind of in the lower right-hand corner of the webcam like this. And then we could also edit and insert a video clip. So John and I traveled a lot, so we would take our video cameras anywhere. This is kind of pre-smartphone days. But now I just shoot things on my iPhone and dump them in videos that I make, and then so we could edit little video clips in there and stuff like that too.
How much time did that end up taking you? It seems like it would be a lot harder, more time too.
It takes a lot of time. So a 10-minute video, we would give ourselves about 30 minutes to make it. So that's 10 minutes to record and 20 minutes to edit. And after that, we just got to cut it off. Otherwise, you could spend hours working on one of these videos. So we weren't going for high production value, Hollywood style stuff. We're just quick and dirty, quick lesson for our students. That's all we were going for.
And would you re-record the video every year, or can you use the same videos each year?
So the first year we did this, we did chemistry and advanced placement chemistry. We did both curriculums, all the videos, and that was a ton of work. Then the second year we redid all the AP chemistry videos, and then the third year we redid all the chemistry videos, and then we used each of those for about 3 more years, and then we both left the classroom and would probably be remaking them all right about now. So most teachers that I'm talking to and working with are doing about a 3-year refresh cycle on their videos.
So why would that be? Just the lack of quality of the previous videos, or the information you're teaching is changing?
A little bit of both. This year, the new AP Chemistry standards came out, so a lot of AP Chemistry teachers remade their AP videos. And then, sometimes it's your hairstyle starts to get dated, your clothing starts to look dated, cultural references start to get dated. You just gotta refresh it. Otherwise, you're watching 1960s television. So.
And how hard do you think a teacher who wasn't familiar with technology, like your teacher or whatever, would have? Like, how much trouble do you think a teacher like that have?
Yeah, if technology is a struggle for teachers, there's some easy options. Like there's a screen recording tool called Screencast-O-Matic, and it's free. Yeah, it's free. It's online. There's no editing, so you get start, stop, upload. In one take, 15-minute time limit. It's a great tool. That's an easy entry point. There's a lot of iOS apps now too, as well as Android apps that are kind of whiteboarding apps, so you can just kind of draw and it'll record it and record your audio. So like Nomia is one of those, Explain Everything. Those are real easy entry points. Other teachers, they just set up a video camera in the back of their classroom and teach at the chalkboard, and that works too. And record that and put it online. So those are easy entry points for teachers. But some teachers are like, I don't want to make my own. I want to use somebody else's videos, and that's an option. I think it's preferable for a teacher to make their own content because there's a personal connection the teacher has with their students. There's again, there's context of. You guys are near Philly, right?
Yeah, we're outside.
Yeah. So I mean, there's stuff that happens in your community that doesn't happen anywhere else in the world, and your teacher knows that, and your teacher's going to be able to take the subject matter and weave it into a context that you understand better than anyone else in the world would.
And I think the other thing with that is that the teacher, specifically the content that they're teaching, not the content that someone else is teaching.
Right. Exactly, and your state standards, because you got to take PSSAs and all that fun stuff, and so if you're learning from my videos that I made in Colorado, that's not going to make any sense to to the Pennsylvania standards and so on. So I live in Pittsburgh now, by the way, so I'm a Pennsylvanian now. Yeah.
So what do you actually do now? Do you
I mostly travel around the world and talk about the Flip Classroom. So I actually just got back 2 days ago from a around the world trip. I went to Iceland, China, and Taiwan, and then back here to the States. I mean, I literally went east all the way around the planet, and I got to do a bunch of conferences while I was over there, and I work with schools, and then I write. John and I are working on some more books right now. And then I teach one class at a college to some teachers in training, but I only do that about once a year. It's it's an every other semester type class, so I don't teach that very often. And that's a hybrid class. It's mostly online with one face-to-face meeting. So actually, last year I taught it from 8 different hotel rooms in 4 different countries. So, yeah, exactly. So I travel a lot, and then that's why I look kind of disheveled right now because I'm still getting over my jet lag and slept in this morning. So I work from my house.
Like last night or something like that?
No, it was a couple nights ago, but I'm still like waking up at weird times. So yeah.
That's really cool. That's be a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah, I enjoy. I miss the classroom a lot, though. I mean, actually, when students like yourselves send me a request to talk to me, I always say yes. Like I don't always say yes to requests through my websites, but whenever it's a high school student, always, because I love talking to students and I miss it a lot. So
thank you so much for giving us your time.
Sure, of course.
More questions.
Yeah.
The other big thing I wanted to hit was how did students receive? Like how did it help students besides more attention?
Did some type people enjoy it? Did other type people not enjoy it?
Yeah, I would say most of my students appreciated the flexibility of the model, where they weren't just dead in the water if they missed the class. They could always get caught up. They liked the flexibility of the class time. They liked the personalized attention in the class time. There were some students who didn't like it. I'll be honest. The students who didn't like it are the students who are really, really good at playing the game of school, but don't really learn a whole lot along the way. So they're the students who get like that, B plus, A minus students who work really hard to make the teacher happy, but don't work very hard to actually learn stuff. And so when I changed the rules, they panicked a little bit. And so a teacher friend of mine, she says, I broke school and took away nap time, and you don't like that. And that's kind of, those are the students who don't like it. Either the ones who like to sleep during class or the students who just like to go and get points and don't actually like to learn. So those are students that didn't like it. But most students benefited from the flexibility of the model. Most students benefited from the individual attention, and most students benefited from more hands-on learning in class rather than passive sit-and-get learning in class. Now, some students didn't like having to work and to learn during class. They liked to sit and do nothing. But once they kind of realized, okay, I guess he's not going to just let me sit and do nothing, they got a lot out of it. So what was interesting from a grade distribution, I had the same number of Fs. So the students who are going to fail are going to fail. It doesn't matter what kind of model you're in. They're just not going to do the work. I had virtually no Ds. All my Ds became Cs, my Cs became Bs, and my Bs became As. That's kind of the shift that I saw in my grade distribution. Yeah.
Because when I was doing research, I couldn't, like, so much things, all these things said that there was, like, no direct evidence supporting a change in grades.
Yeah, there's not a lot of evidence, and there's some that's emerging right now, but I mean, this is still a fairly new concept from a research perspective. It takes a lot of time to do educational research. So there's stuff happening right now. I'm involved in a few research projects, but most of the evidence right now is showing that a flipped classroom compared to a traditional classroom, there's minimal change in terms of grades, in terms of like standardized tests. But what we do have data on is that students are happier and teachers are more satisfied with their job. We've got some pretty significant data from some surveys that we've done that's showing that. And so that's pretty exciting to me. So to be honest, I could care less about standardized test scores. PSSAs, SATs, I don't care. Like, and as long as it's not going down, I'm happy, you know? And so as long as it's not detrimental, then that's fine.
I think the whole idea of you, like, how a lot of your students' grades still went up because, like, the idea of the B's turns to C's, the C's turns to B's. I think that's good enough evidence
Yeah.
to show that. I think it does help your grades a lot.
Yeah.
And then the other question I had, there is actually one teacher in our school who did flip their classroom and recorded prezzies and with a voiceover. But the problem he was encountering was a lot of their students wouldn't actually watch the lecture.
Oh, yeah.
And then so he was like forced to play them during class.
And
Yeah, so this is a common way to derail your flipped classroom. So, first week of school, students show up, they didn't do the work, right? Now, we all have students who don't do their homework. That's the reality of being a teacher, right? So, the problem is when there's a significant number who don't do it, then you feel compelled to reteach them in the class, right? So, but the problem is if you do that, then all the students who did do their work go, well, why do I have to do my work if he's just going to teach it to us anyhow? They're not going to do it ever again. And then the students who didn't do their work, they go, well, he's just going to teach it for us anyhow, so there's no incentive for me to do it. So that's a quick way to derail your flipped classroom. So as a teacher, you have to have a system and a policy in place. If you show up unprepared, there's a crappy computer in the back of the classroom. You go sit back there and do it on your own time while the rest of the class who came prepared takes care of business. And this is just a discipline as a teacher that you have to do. Now, your first week of school, 50% of your students might show up unprepared. But if you're consistent and you apply that every single day, the next week it's probably more like 25%. And then the next week it's probably more like 10%. And then the next week it's probably more like 5%. And you'll never get that last 5%. They will always show up unprepared, and you just have to deal with it. You have to not bail them out for their bad choice. Help the students who struggle. Help the students who need your assistance, but never bail out a student for their bad choice. So I see that happen time and time again, and that's why I'm getting kind of passionate. I get up on a soapbox and I talk to teachers about this a lot. When it didn't work because half my students didn't do their work. Well, you know what? It still can work. You just have to be disciplined about this, and you can't bail them out.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully, I helped you out. If you. Good. What are you working on ultimately with this? Are you writing a paper or doing a project or?
So yeah, we're in an integrated government economics and English.
Oh, cool.
Class. So it's like a double blocks, but like a seminar to level type class. And they gave us a project. We had to create a special interest group type thing.
And we have to change something in our community.
So
cool.
Since we were going on our trip, we're like, what if we did something to make it easier for people who, like miss time, and then we thought of this.
Like we actually started thinking about recording lectures and advocating for like installing cameras.
And then we realized,
and then we slowly
kind of already did it.
And we slowly
okay.
Like, oh wait, people have already done this.
Cool.
And then,
Right on. Very cool.
On that, and now we're advocating for the classroom.
Awesome. Very cool.
Thank you for your time.
Right on. Absolutely. Happy to do it. Take it easy, guys. All right. Bye.